welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into something pretty intense, actually.
We are. It's Law 10 from the 48 Laws of Power.
Right, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky.
Yeah.
And it's unsettling, isn't it? This idea of emotional contagion.
It really is. Forget just a bad luck. The text frames it as a kind of active, infectious force.
Yeah, the core idea is pretty stark. It basically says misery isn't just, a feeling, it's contagious.
Like a disease, almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that trying to help someone who's really deep in it, well, it might just drag you down too.
And it goes further, suggesting some people actually seem to attract misfortune. Or maybe create it.
And then spread it to others, just by being around them.
And it's crucial to understand this isn't really about blaming victims in a simple sense. It's about seeing a pattern.
A pattern of what, exactly?
Destructive actions, maybe. An unsettling kind of effect that just radiates from certain people.
Okay.
And the source gives a really strong warning here. You might feel compassionate, want to step in, right?
Of course, that's human nature.
But the text argues that could be the very thing that triggers your own problems. Their chaos can sort of seep into your life.
Right. Infiltrate your stability. That's a scary thought.
It is.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We need to figure out how to recognize these infectors, as the book calls them.
Understand the danger, the real peril of getting drawn into their orbit.
Yeah, and then flip it. Look at the other side, the power of connecting with people who radiate positivity, good fortune.
Because that's infectious too, right?
Absolutely. So this isn't about being cold or heartless. It's presented as strategic self-preservation and growth, maybe.
Strategic association, yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay, to really get a handle on this infection idea, we probably need to start with a big example from the text.
Has to be Lola Montez.
Definitely. Lola Montez, born Marie Gilbert, Limerick, Ireland, 1818. But she completely reinvents herself in Paris in the 1840s.
Becomes this fiery Spanish flamenco dancer persona.
Right. Lola Montez, turns out her dancing, not actually that great.
Yeah, no. So she pivots pretty quickly.
To become a very successful courtesan.
And this is where you really start to see that infectious quality the law talks about. Her first, let's say, major target.
Or victim, as the source puts it.
Yeah, Alexandra Dujarier. Big deal in Paris, on the largest newspaper, influential drama critic.
And Lola. She was strategic about it.
Oh, incredibly. She found out his routines, knew he rode horses every morning. She was a skilled rider herself.
And arranges an accidental collision.
Exactly. Runs right into him, plays the damsel in distress, presumably, and it worked.
How quickly?
The sources say within weeks, she'd moved into his apartment. Completely captivated him.
Wow. But then things start to go wrong for Dujarier, right?
Terribly wrong. He's deeply in love, planning to marry her.
Doesn't even know she's already married.
Completely oblivious. And his life just starts to unravel. His business deals sour.
Influential friends start keeping their distance.
It's like this cloud forms around him, and it culminates in this really tragic incident. Yeah. Dujarier, apparently hopelessly drunk one night, insults another critic, Jean-Baptiste Rosemond de Beauvalon.
Leads to a challenge, a duel.
And Dujarier is shot dead. Just like that. A promising life completely derailed.
And Lola's reaction?
She packs her bags and leaves Paris. Moves on.
Just moves on. Incredible. But that wasn't the end of her infectious trail, was it?
Not even close. Next stop, 1846, Munich. And she sets her sights even higher.
King Ludwig of Bavaria.
And again, she finds an inn. This time through his aide-de-camp, Count Otto von Rickenberg.
Who apparently had a weakness for beautiful women.
Conveniently. So picture this. Rexburg is having breakfast outdoors. Lola rides by.
And another accidental horse fall. Seriously.
Right at his feet, he's charmed, promises to get her an introduction to the king.
Does he?
Well, Ludwig keeps putting off the audience, so Lola, being Lola,
takes matters into her own hands.
Pushes past the royal guards, storms into his private study.
Unbelievable audacity.
And then, somehow the source heavily implies it was deliberate, the front of her dress tears.
Exposing her breasts. To the king.
Right there. He's astonished, but instantly captivated. She gets her audience.
And he was hooked from that moment.
Totally hooked. Even though her debut on the Bavarian stage got terrible reviews, Ludwig just didn't care.
He was, what did he say, bewitched.
That was his word. Utterly bewitched. Starts showing up everywhere with her, buys her a fancy apartment, writes her poetry.
And he was known for being quite miserly, wasn't he?
Exactly. It was completely out of character. But Lola's own instability starts to show more, too.
Like attacking people in the street.
Yeah, slashing an old man with her writing prop. whipping someone else when her dog attacked them.
And the public reaction.
Furious. Absolutely furious. But Ludwig seemed blind to it all, still completely under her spell.
And her power just grew and grew.
Immensely. He made her a countess, gave her a palace. She started getting involved in politics.
Advising the king, treating ministers with contempt.
She basically became the shadow ruler of Bavaria.
And the result?
Chaos. Bavaria, which had been pretty peaceful, erupted in riots. It was on the verge of civil war.
And everyone was chanting.
Raus mit Lola. Out with Lola.
The pressure must have been immense on Ludwig.
Unbearable. By February 1848, he finally had to order her to leave. Paid her off handsomely, of course.
But it was too late for him, wasn't it?
Way too late. The people's anger just shifted from Lola straight onto him. A month later, March 1848, he was forced to abdicate.
Wow. A king brought down. It really shows how one person's personal issues can spread.
To infect an entire nation in this case.
And her destructive path didn't even end there, did it? The sources mention others.
Briefly, yeah. George Strafford Heald, young army officer, married her, even though she was still married to someone else, bigamy.
Which led to his arrest.
His arrest, they escaped. She apparently slashed him with a knife at one point. He lost everything. Position, reputation, money. Died young in a boating accident.
Just tragedy after tragedy. And there was someone in California, too.
Pat Hull. Another stormy relationship. She leaves him, he falls into depression, dies young.
Even the guy who published her autobiography.
He went bankrupt. It's an astonishingly consistent pattern.
So, stepping back, what's the deeper analysis here? How does Lola exemplify this infector type?
Well, the text argues her power wasn't just, physical attraction. It was this intense force of character.
That sucked people in.
Into her drama, yeah. Her inherent instability just radiated outwards. Problems would always surface.
And people felt drawn to help.
Exactly. But her problems were too deep, too fundamental. Once they identified with her, started trying to fix things, they were lost.
The infection spread to family, friends.
A whole kingdom, in Ludwig's case. The only answer, the source says bluntly, was to cut ties completely. Or face ruin.
It's a harsh lesson.
And it's stressed that this isn't about gender. This infecting character type can be anyone. It stems from that inner instability, that almost desire to unsettle things.
A need to create chaos.
Something like that. The source says you could study it forever, but the practical advice is just recognize it and run.
Okay, run. But how do you recognize it? If Lola Montez is the extreme, how do you spot this kind of negative infection in everyday life? How do you protect yourself?
Well, the first thing the sources emphasize is that these aren't just people having a run of bad luck.
They actively draw misfortune through their own actions.
Yes. Through their actions, their personality, this unsettling effect they have. But they often seem like victims, which makes it tricky.
Right, so you feel sorry for them first.
Exactly. And by the time you realize their misery might be, well, self-inflicted, you're already kind of entangled, infected, you might say.
So what are the red flags, the signs to look out for?
The text points to a few things. A history of turbulence, look at their past. Is there a long line of broken relationships, unstable jobs?
That pattern of misfortune just following them around.
Right. Also, that very force of character we mentioned with Lola, someone who sweeps you up, makes you feel like you're losing your own judgment a bit.
An intense energy.
Yeah, maybe an unsettling energy. And often a kind of deep discontent you can see in their eyes.
That makes sense. It's subtle, though.
It can be. And the danger of pity is huge here. There's the anecdote from Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, the nut in the wall. Tell us that one.
Okay, so imagine this nut, dropped by a crow, lands in a crack in an old, beautiful wall. The nut begs the wall for shelter, flatters it.
And the wall feels sorry for it.
Moved by compassion, yeah. It agrees to shelter the little nut. But then the nut starts to grow. Its roots push into the crack.
Forcing the stones apart.
Relentlessly. Until the wall realizes too late what's happening. Its structure is compromised, and eventually it collapses in ruins.
Because it offered shelter out of pity. Wow.
It's a powerful metaphor for letting an infector into your life.
Yeah, it really is. And didn't Montaigne have a similar sort of observation?
He did. About a Dr. Simon Thomas. This doctor told a patient suffering from consumption tuberculosis, basically to hang out with Montaigne. To sort of absorb Montaigne's healthy energy, his youthful vigor, the idea was it would improve the patient's health.
Okay.
But Montaigne dryly noted that the doctor forgot to mention that his health might get worse in the process.
Exactly. The risk of being drained.
Precisely. It highlights that risk of absorbing someone else's negative state.
there's also that great example from Shakespeare, right? Cassius and Brutus.
Oh, absolutely. A classic case of infection. Cassius is just eaten up with envy and resentment towards Caesar. He can't stand anyone being more successful.
Chronic dissatisfaction.
Totally. Now, Brutus has his own issues with Caesar, genuine Republican concerns about dictatorship. But the sources suggest he might have eventually gained power peacefully.
If you just waited.
Perhaps. But Cassius, with all his bitterness, his negativity, he infects Brutus's dislike.
Twists it. Pushes him further.
Pushes him towards conspiracy, towards assassination, leading to tragedy for everyone involved. A tragedy may be avoided if Brutus had recognized the danger of Cassius's toxic influence.
So, when you see these signs, when you suspect you're dealing with an infector, what's the specific advice? You can't always just run, or can you?
The advice in the source is actually that stark. Quarantine yourself.
Quarantine, meaning...
Don't argue. Don't try to help them fix their lives. You likely can't. Definitely don't pass them off onto your friends, because then you're still connected.
So flee.
Flee their presence, cut contact as much as possible, and crucially, resist the urge to pity them.
Why is pity so dangerous here?
Because the infector type, the text argues, rarely changes. But you can be changed by them. Pulled down, destabilized, unhinged. Pity opens the door to that.
Okay, that's a very clear, if difficult, message about avoiding the negative. But you mentioned flipping the coin.
Right, the positive side of infection, which is maybe more intuitive but just as important strategically.
So just like negativity is contagious.
Positivity is too. Happiness, good cheer, intelligence, competence. These things radiate as well.
And the law says we should actively seek those people out.
Absolutely. Associate with people who attract happiness, who have that natural buoyancy, who are smart and successful. The idea is you'll share in the prosperity and good vibes they generate.
You kind of absorb it by proximity.
Exactly. You leverage their positive ripple effect for your own benefit.
It's even used in strategy, isn't it? Infecting an opponent.
Yeah, the text mentions that. Facing an agitated enemy. Project Total Calm. You can actually infect them with calmness, make them hesitate.
Or infect them with carelessness, boredom.
Right. Make them underestimate you by projecting a kind of drunk-like spirit or weakness. It's psychological warfare, essentially using emotional contagion.
Fascinating. But back to personal life, how does this positive infection work?
Well, the idea is that all positive qualities can be infectious. Think about someone like Talleyrand.
French diplomat.
Yeah. Famous for his charm, his wit, his grace, just oozed aristocratic culture.
Okay.
Now, compare him to Napoleon. Brilliant general, obviously, but often crude, awkward, prone to anger.
Not exactly Mr. Charm.
Not at all. But Napoleon apparently really admired Talleyrand's smoothness, his social skills. He envied it.
So he kept him close.
Kept him very close. The implication is Napoleon hoped some of that polish, that culture he lacked, would rub off on him.
And did it?
The source suggests it did, that Napoleon actually improved, became a bit more refined through that association. He was deliberately trying to catch Talleyrand's positive infection.
So how can, the listener apply this directly?
It's a clear call to action. Look at your own tendencies. If you're, say, a bit tight with money.
Miserly.
Yeah. Then deliberately seek out generous people, spend time with them. Their spirit might loosen you up.
If you're gloomy, find cheerful people.
Exactly. If you tend to isolate yourself, force yourself to connect with gregarious, outgoing types.
It's about consciously choosing associations to counteract your own weaknesses.
Yes. And this leads to a really crucial rule the source lays down.
Which is?
Never associate with people who share your defects.
Why not? Seems like you'd understand each other.
Maybe, but the text argues they'll just reinforce your flaws. They'll validate your weaknesses, make it harder to change. Misery loves company, right?
Oh, okay. So avoid negative mirroring.
Precisely. Only create associations based on positive affinities. Seek out people who have the qualities you admire or lack.
And the source makes a big claim about this.
A huge claim. It says making this a firm rule for life will benefit you more than all the therapy in the world.
Wow, that's bold.
It is, but it underscores the power of association.
And Balthazar Gracian had something sharp to say about this too, didn't he?
Oh, yes. Gracian puts it bluntly. Misfortune is usually the crime of folly. There is no malady more contagious.
You don't even open the door, crack to misfortune.
For if you do, many others will follow in its train. And his final line is chilling. Do not die of another's misery.
Powerful stuff. So wrapping this up, what's the absolute core takeaway from Law 10?
It really boils down to this. Who you spend your time with is critically important, maybe the most important factor in your own well-being and success.
The risk of negative infection is real lost time, wasted energy, even damage to your reputation by association.
Definitely. But the upside, the potential gain from positive association, from surrounding yourself with the right people, that's immense.
And this law, unlike some others, doesn't really have a reversal, does it? The advice is universal.
Seems that way. The text is pretty clear. There's nothing to gain from associating with those who drag you down.
Only power, potential, good fortune to be found by aligning with the fortunate, the positive, the buoyant.
That's the essence of it. Choose your company wisely.
So, a final thought for everyone listening. Given how much the people around us can influence our emotions, our outlook, maybe even our fortunes, what changes might you think about making?
Yeah. What kind of company are you keeping right now?
And maybe more importantly, what kind of infection, that positive, uplifting kind, do you want to actively cultivate in your own life, starting now?
Something definitely worth pondering.